Philadelphia only up 89-81. But then the process. He had 3 threes in the game. That was one of them. Shimmies with it. Gotta love the process. If you're a Philly fan, and then things would get a little bit physical. That is a block on Pascal Siakam by Embiid, and then a tripping session ensues. Just in case you missed it the first time, if you weren't paying attention, there is the block. Both players drop. Embiid falls because of a kick or a leg whip. 2 guys. Good sportsmanship. Siakam called for the flagrant 1. Embiid responds. Have a seat. Again, one of his 5 blocks on the night. That is nasty. Oh, yeah. He likes that. Fourth quarter, Sixers will pull away. Jimmy Buckets gets the steal, and he's going the other way. AI, your thoughts? Embiid, again, showing and proving why he is one of the best young players in the game. And one of the best showmen in any league. Punk fake, and then that was ridiculous. 33 points, 10 rebounds, 5 blocks in the game, as Philly is trusting the process. Get the huge victory at home over Toronto in Game 3, and they take a 2-1 lead in the series. The process and company doing work at home. And the Sixers get the victory, 116-95.
And there we have it, folks. As you have seen, Raptors fall to the 76ers, 116-95 in Game 3 behind a powerful performance of Joel Embiid. Played 28 minutes, just 28 minutes, 33 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. And on the line with me right now is Raptors Today wrap-up host Savannah Hamilton that you see on NBA TV Canada's Twitter page. Thank you very much, Savannah, for being with me today.
My pleasure, always.
Now, immediately, what is your takeaway from Game 3?
Ooh, honestly, that I feel like emotions ran really high, and the Toronto Raptors lost focus because of that. You saw that, like, the Raptors had a major comeback in the third, I believe, like towards the end. They cut the lead down from like 18 points at one point that the Philadelphia 76ers had on the Raptors, all the way down to the 8 points or 6 points difference.
Mm-hmm.
8 points, yeah. And then so coming out in the fourth, we saw the Pascal Siakam trip, and I know he's claiming that it wasn't intentional, but come on, like, it looked kind of intentional.
That was bad.
Sorry?
That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was flagrant regardless. So, that just tells me, that speaks to the narrative of, when the team's high on emotions, I know as a player myself, and, playing on teams where emotions have ran high, if it's not utilized in the right way, it's quickly utilized in the wrong way, and then you can get yourself all into sorts. So this is the first time in the playoffs that I saw the Raptors this emotional.
What alarmed you the most about the crushing defeat?
The confidence that Philly got from it. That's what definitely alarmed me. I called this series from the beginning that the Raptors would get this in 6. So I'm not surprised they got the first game at home. However, I was hoping the Raptors would get the first game on their court just so that the Sixers don't feel confident going into the second home game for them. And that, so they don't basically build momentum and think that, because the Raptors still is a great team. I was watching, TNT and other analysts go into it. And now I could see the differing opinions. Before, everybody was leaning towards the Raptors, and now I'm already seeing people change their minds and go to Philly because they're like, well, the star power on Philly just can't be matched by the Raptors, the starting lineup. But then we forget about our bench depth. But the thing is that the Raptors' bench depth is something that needs to be, just a bit more contributions from.
Now, we have been talking a lot about the bench for the Toronto Raptors, and that was their strong suit over this 82-game season that they've had. Now, You have a guy in OG who has a emergency appendectomy. You have another guy in Fred VanVleet, who just hasn't shown up. We don't know where he is, okay? We have DeLon Wright, and you had Jonas Valanciunas, who have departed because of that trade, bringing in Marc Gasol. Do you think it's more on the bench not being able to produce, or do you feel it's more about the starters in regards to Kyle Lowry and Marc Gasol not really stepping up on the offensive end?
That's a great question because, once again, like leaning back on my own experience, like it's a team effort collectively. At the end of the day, like you can rely on these starters and these players as much as you want, but it is a team collective. And the Toronto Raptors, especially, like you said it all season long, the bench has been there. They've been pretty great for us. So looking at like what's happening now, it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, no, the bench does have a role in these series. This is what has gotten the Raptors so far in the regular season. So for them to, like maybe, I don't know if it's them relying too much on the starters or the stars or what the mental hurdle is, but it's something that, we can still expect contributions from them. And in, what was it? There's one game where, 3 Toronto Raptors had, the game that Kawhi was not feeling great. He still had 16 points. And the rest of the team had a pretty, equal scoring. Like, there's 3 players.
Against in the first round against Orlando. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're all in double-doubles. So it's kind of like, okay, it's great when the 3 started in double-doubles, but the rest of the team actually had decent, contributions as well. So it's when when the entire team picks it up, that's when we see the best Raptors team. And that's what I personally like about the Raptors, is the fact that they are true to the definition, a team. So it's on everybody, not just a player or 2 players. It's literally on everybody.
Now, if you were Kawhi Leonard at this point, aside from Pascal Siakam, when Game 4 tips off 3:30 on Sunday, who else besides Pascal Siakam definitively do you believe you can trust if you're Kawhi Leonard?
Honestly, if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I'd best be putting the most trust in every one of my teammates for them to step up and for them to play their hardest. Because I know Kawhi Leonard, he plays his hardest. We see it every single night on the floor. Like I said, the man was sick and still had 16 points and 10 rebounds. He still had a double-double. So if you put that expectation on yourself, you could easily put that expectation on your teammates, and that's not unreasonable to say. Obviously, I'm not expecting, Fred VanVleet to go out and score 33 points, but there is a level of performance and effort and contributions that you can, as a player, you can't afford to mistrust any one of your teammates. You have to, there is, at the end of the day, these players are all in the NBA for a reason. They've all stepped up in some point of their career. It's not like they haven't done this. They all had to do it to get to where they are now, so they have it in them. So you got to trust that, you can't be too honed in on the past games. You got to be looking forward to the future and really believing in the guy beside you, because that's all you have. You have your teammates.
Now, we've heard Masai specifically a few years ago when the Raptors first got swept against Cleveland. He talked a lot about wanting to change the culture of the team. Since then, the culture has not changed with this team, whether it was last year or for what I'm seeing this year. I think Pascal Siakam is the most improved player. He's a better player. You brought in a better player and upgraded DeMar DeRozan into Kawhi Leonard. Now, aside from that, yes, you've had some upgrades in terms of your players, but overall, the culture still looks the same. And when I say it still looks the same, they don't look very physical. They don't look very tough in regards to other opponents.
I challenge that. I think they are more physical this year.
Oh, really? Just like how they got punked in Game 3?
On defense. Gasol's going pretty hard on defense, and so is Kawhi. Like, we have a defensive team right now, and, like, that's the one thing that never shows up on the scoreboard is obviously, like, the defensive hustle plays. Kyle Lowry's been taking a bunch of charges. Like, I've never seen him take charges in his career. So, like, I don't think it's a matter of grit. I think it's just a matter of focus. And like I said, like, the last game, I think emotions got the best of them. It's really hard to play through emotions. Just clouds your head in like so many different ways. So I honestly think that they're one of the gritty, like right now in the playoffs, probably one of the hardest working defensive teams I've been seeing. Because like they're all in it together. I think there has some lapses, which is natural in the NBA. Like some players straight up don't play defense. Not on the Raptors per se, but I'm talking in general. But I'm watching the Raptors and I'm like, wow, help side came. Or even the second line of help side, like basically, like, if someone steps up, somebody's dropping down to cover the help side man. And I've been seeing rotations, and there is naturally, this is the NBA, there's going to be some amazing offensive plays from like the Philadelphia 76ers that is going to cause lapses where they can't recover. That's just the nature of the game on both sides. But I think that I honestly do see an improvement with the Raptors defense this year compared to last year, and I think it actually has to do a lot with the moves the Raptors did make in the off season and during like even the Marc Gasol trade. Like he's a good defensive player in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Now, last question for you: we've seen Kyle Lowry play well at times, but he really, really struggles on the offensive end. I mean, it's just like you quoted just now. He does everything else in regards to playing defense. He's a playmaker, and he does all the small things, including grit. But offensively, this guy, I mean, he was an all-star this year, right? And Game 3 now, you're in the second round of the Eastern Conference playoffs. You have to step it up offensively. What do you make of Kyle Lowry and his struggles offensively in the postseason year after year? Because it's not like it's just 1 or 2 years. This is something that's going on for about 4 to 5 years now.
I mean, if you're going to compare Lowry this year to previous Lowrys of the past maybe like 3 years, this Lowry's looking not bad. I know he had a scoreless game. Was it game 2? Was it game 1? I can't remember. Of the first round.
Game 1.
Game 1, yeah. He had barely a scoreless game, which he later tried to justify. But, other than that, one anomaly of a game, I'm taking this Lowry over previous years. I think it's better than what we've seen before. It's still not to the point where maybe it's the all-star caliber that player that we need to see more of. So I think consistency and it goes back to mental. I think it honestly the fact that he could play pretty consistently in the regular season, but in playoffs, it's like a different switch is on, and maybe see more intensity of what the other team's bringing or something. But I think it's almost like a mental hurdle, because we see moments of greatness with him. We do see some pretty good plays or some he sees another player and assists. But, and also, I think we also, live in this decade of the point guard has to be the scorer. Steph Curry really brought that on. Kyrie Irving brought that on. They're playmakers. They can score the ball, with ease. So it was kind of we set that expectation on, all point guards in the league. When, I would say Kyle Lowry is more of a traditional point guard. And, if you look at the sense of he's trying to make the plays for his teammates rather than be the primary scorer. And I'm not even sure if he wants to be in this team the way that this chemistry has been working, the guy. I don't think he wants to be the primary scorer. So, I mean, like I said, I'll take this Lowry over previous Lowrys I've seen.
Now, before you go, Game 4 must win for the Raptors.
Game 4? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think... yeah.
if they, so your opinion, if they lose Game 4, they lose the series. If they go down 3-1.
Oh, you're putting that's tough.
Because if they do lose Game 4, that means they got to win 3 straight.
Exactly, and that is hard to come back from for not just Raptors, for any team in the league. I think Game 4 is literally a must-win. And I actually, I've been saying it because I'm just maybe just putting it out there so that the truth comes out, it happens. But I've been calling Raptors in 6 in this series. So I think if they get Game 4, I have faith that they got the rest of them. I'll be an optimist. I have faith that they'll get the rest of the games when they get the next game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Very optimistic. No, I don't doubt it, though. If they can win Game 4, all they have to do is win Game 5 when they get back to Toronto.
When they win Game 4, they'll get their swag back. They'll get their, oh, yeah, this is us. Right. All right, let's go to work on these guys. And then if the bench contributes enough, they should be in the next game, I think that's going to be oh, yeah, I forgot. We can do this. And, we're this team that needs to get to the Eastern Conference Finals at the very least. So I think if they win Game 4, if they win Game 4, they can get the series.
Savannah, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to doing this again soon with you.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'll speak to you again soon. Thank you.
Sounds good.
And there you have it, folks. Raptors Today wrap-up host Savannah Hamilton from NBA TV Canada's Twitter. And the Raptors, they did not look good in Game 3. I mean, we all know that. Kyle Lowry has to step it up. Marc Gasol has to step it up on the offensive end. They are not going to be able to win this series unless you get offensive output from those two guys. 7 points from Kyle Lowry is not good enough. Okay, 2 for 10, that is not good enough for an all-star. Marc Gasol, 7 points. You coming off averaging 16 from Memphis, that is not good enough to get past the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, he did it in Game 1. Kawhi Leonard dropped 45. He's not going to drop 45 every game. And Pascal Siakam, Brett Brown has done a good job of making adjustments, putting Joel Embiid on him, and then Tobias Harris on Marc Gasol, and they haven't been able to exploit that yet. So Nick Nurse is going to have to find a way to change things up a little bit on the offensive end and get these guys to produce a little bit more. And it's not like they've been getting terrible shots or poor shot attempts. They've been able to get some good looks and some good shots, and they need them to fall. Marc Gasol has to be a little bit more aggressive. Kyle Lowry has been aggressive, but just not making shots. He needs to get his swagger back. Kawhi Leonard will do his thing. Pascal Siakam will do his thing. But on the other side, when it comes to the bench, Serge Ibaka, Norman Powell, those guys can be your X factors. You're really going to need those guys to go up against the 76ers. The Raptors bench looks stronger than the 76ers going into this series. But all of a sudden now, Fred VanVleet is nowhere to be found, and he's a key part of your lineup. At times you play him in the lineup with Kyle Lowry simultaneously. You get the outlet pass kicked to them. They have the offense going in transition, and they're both making plays for the other teammates and each other. So hopefully Fred finds his rhythm and gets back into his groove, and things are different and competitive for Game 4 for the Toronto Raptors versus the Philadelphia 76ers. That's it for the Raptors Game 3 wrap-up. This is Mike Roach from OXP Media, and I'll be seeing you again soon. I'll do another video after Game 4 of the Eastern Conference semifinals between the Toronto Raptors and Philadelphia 76ers, 3:30 Eastern Time on Sunday. So I'll see you soon. Again, Mike Roach from OXP Media.